When Denise Carter, a 41-year-old single mother from Charlotte, North Carolina, met Ryan Matthews on a rainy Tuesday evening, she thought fate had finally turned in her favor. She was rushing through the grocery store, soaked and frustrated, when a tall, sharply dressed man offered her his umbrella. He smiled, that kind of warm, confident smile that makes you feel like you're the only person in the room. That was Ryan. Denise had been through enough heartbreak to know when something was too good to be true. But Ryan. He was perfect. Too perfect. Ryan Matthews was everything Denise had dreamed of, and more. He was 43, charming, attentive, successful. He claimed to work in private equity, traveling between Charlotte and Miami. He talked about investments, the importance of legacy, and even mentioned donating to children's charities in Brazil. He never flaunted his money, but he always picked up the tab, always drove the nicest cars, always seemed to know someone at the top. More importantly, he was amazing with Denise's two kids, Jalen, 14, and Ava, 9. Jalen had never connected with any of Denise's previous partners, but within a week, he and Ryan were bonding over sports stats and Call of Duty. Ava called him Mr. Ryan, and insisted he sit beside her at dinner. It didn't take long before Denise was in love. 3 months in, he surprised her with a weekend getaway to the Biltmore estate in Asheville. They drank wine, walked hand in hand through manicured gardens, and sat by the fire laughing about baby names. "I could really see myself building a life with you," Ryan had whispered that night, holding her close. "You and the kids. You feel like home." Denise, overwhelmed with emotion, kissed him. She'd never felt so sure of anything in her life. What she didn't know was that Ryan had already started building something, but it wasn't a future. It was a trap. The first red flag came gently. Ryan called one morning sounding flustered. "Babe, I hate to ask this, but my business partner in Brazil just called. There's a deal about to collapse if I don't wire in $15,000 by 2 p.m. I'm liquidating some stocks, but they won't clear in time. I'll pay you back Friday." Denise hesitated. She wasn't rich, but she had been saving for a down payment on a new house. She paused. "Are you sure this is real?" Ryan didn't push. He sighed. "No worries, babe. I'll figure it out." But the thought of him losing money, or worse, being humiliated professionally, made her anxious. She called him back 10 minutes later. "I'll send it." And that was the beginning. After that, there were more requests. Some small, some not. A frozen account. A last-minute investment opportunity. A friend who needed to be paid under the table. Always a reason. Always urgent. And always followed by promises of repayment, apologies, and sweet nothings. But what kept Denise hooked wasn't just love, it was the illusion of partnership. Ryan made her feel like they were building an empire. "You're not just my girlfriend," he'd tell her. "You're my future wife. My queen. Everything I'm doing is for us." She believed him. Even when her savings dipped below $5,000. Even when her credit cards maxed out. Even when Jalen asked, "Why is mom always stressed when Ryan's around?" Then came the engagement. Ryan rented out a rooftop bar downtown. Candles, roses, champagne. He got down on one knee and presented a ring so dazzling it looked like it belonged to royalty. Denise sobbed. Ava clapped. Jalen took photos. It was the happiest day of her life. And yet, 2 weeks later, Ryan vanished. It started with silence. One day, he didn't answer his phone. Then his number stopped working. His social media went dark. The email bounced. Denise drove to the luxury condo he claimed to own. It was empty. No trace. Nothing. She filed a missing persons report. The officer gently asked, "Ma'am, do you have any proof this man existed at all?" And that's when the nightmare began. Denise Carter had never felt so humiliated, or so afraid. 1 minute, she was preparing wedding invitations. The next, she was staring at a police officer who asked her if Ryan Matthews even existed. "Do you have any paperwork? A real address? Bank information?" Anything? He'd asked, flipping through the thin file she brought. Photos. Text messages. A couple of wire transfer receipts. It wasn't enough. When Denise tried calling the phone number again, it was disconnected. She visited the bank Ryan used to mention. No record. She drove to the building where he claimed to have an office. Never heard of him. It was as if Ryan Matthews had never existed. And that's when she realized he hadn't. With the help of her tech-savvy cousin Mia, Denise launched her own investigation. Mia dug through social media, cross-referencing photos, doing reverse image searches, scouring online forums for scams. 3 hours in, she gasped and turned the laptop toward Denise. You're not the only one. On a Reddit thread titled r/love scams, a woman from Tampa had posted a photo of Ryan and described a near-identical experience. Charm, fake investments, vanished after taking $30,000. Another woman from Atlanta shared her heartbreak. He'd used a different name, Chris Malone, but the same face. Over the next week, Denise found 5 more women across 3 states. Each story matched. Different names. Same man. Same lies. Same stolen futures. And all of them were still paying the price. Financially, emotionally, psychologically. The truth sank in slowly, like poison. Ryan, or whatever his real name was, had never loved her. The romance, the bonding with her kids, the engagement, all fake. Manufactured. Strategic. Denise sat on her couch that night with Jalen beside her. Was Ryan a bad guy? He asked. She paused. Yes, baby. He was. He hurt us. But we're gonna be okay. But Denise wasn't sure she believed that. She contacted a private investigator, a former FBI fraud specialist named Robert Daly. Within days, Robert confirmed her fears. This guy's good, Robert said, laying out a map. He changes identities often. Operates in cycles, about 4 months in each city, targets single women with kids, especially those with savings or property. And here's the worst part. He doesn't always disappear. Sometimes he circles back. Denise felt her stomach drop. You mean, he watches them? Robert nodded grimly. He's been known to show up again, months later, pretending to be someone else. New job. New story. New angle. Her skin crawled. Had she seen a dark sedan parked across the street earlier? Was that him? Was he watching them now? That night, she gathered her kids and moved in with her sister across town. She changed her phone number, installed a security system, and notified her bank. But the fear lingered. Then, a week later, she received a letter in the mail. No return address. It read, Dear Denise, I never meant to hurt you. I really did love you. Please don't do anything stupid. Let it go. R. There was no stamp. No postmark. It had been hand-delivered. She showed the letter to Robert. His face darkened. This isn't remorse. It's control. He wants you to stay scared. He's probably nearby. Robert encouraged her to file a formal complaint with the FBI's Internet Crime Division. It wasn't just about getting justice for herself, it was about stopping him before he found another target. Denise agreed. She submitted the evidence. The emails. The texts. The receipts. The photo of the engagement ring, now revealed to be a cheap replica purchased online. Then something unexpected happened. One of the women from the Reddit group, Vanessa from Tampa, called her in a panic. He's back. He messaged me last night. New name, but same photo. He thinks I don't remember. They coordinated. Shared intel. Created a spreadsheet of timelines, phone numbers, voice recordings, fake names. They gave the whole file to the FBI. Still, no arrest came. Weeks passed. The FBI acknowledged the case but explained that cross-state fraud was complicated, especially with no confirmed identity. Unless he tries it again, and slips up, he's hard to pin down. So Denise waited. Watched. Slept with one eye open. Until one morning, she received another shock. Ava came home from school with a drawing. It was of Mr. Ryan. He was across the street when I was getting on the bus, Ava said casually. He waved at me. Denise's knees gave out. She called the police. They searched the area. Nothing. But the message was clear. Ryan wasn't just a ghost from the past. He was a storm gathering on the edge of her family's future. Denise Carter was done being scared. He had taken her money, her dignity, and nearly her sanity, but he wasn't going to take her peace. Not anymore. Ryan, or whatever his real name was, had made a critical mistake. He came back. Maybe he thought she'd be too scared to act. Maybe he assumed she still loved him. Or maybe he just enjoyed the control. Whatever his reason, his return lit a fire inside Denise that no fear could extinguish. So, she called Robert Daly, the private investigator, and said just 6 words. I want to take him down. The plan had to be meticulous. The FBI still hadn't issued a warrant. There were no fingerprints. No confirmed name. No financial accounts that led back to him. As far as the system was concerned, he was a ghost. But Denise had what others didn't. Bait. They began by creating a new online persona. Monica Ray, a fictional real estate investor and single mother with a successful bakery business and a robust online presence. With help from Robert and 2 of the other victims, they designed an entire identity. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, even fake news clippings about her bakery winning awards in Georgia. Then they waited. Just like clockwork, he reached out. The name he used this time was Jordan Lake. Same smooth lines. Same accidental meeting, this time through a business forum. Same flirty banter. He messaged Monica for 3 weeks, gradually turning conversations romantic. And eventually, like a script he'd repeated dozens of times, he asked to meet in person. Gotcha, Denise whispered. The meeting was set at a high-end hotel bar in downtown Atlanta. Robert contacted law enforcement and looped in 2 local detectives who had been tracking similar romance scam patterns. The trap would be a civil meet, but wired for audio, with backup watching nearby. Denise, now playing Monica, sat at the bar, nerves steel-tight, hands trembling slightly as she stirred her drink. And then, he walked in. Same confident stride. Same designer blazer. Same perfect teeth. But Denise saw him clearly for the first time. Not as the dream man, not as Ryan, or Chris, or Jordan, but as a predator. He sat down beside her. You must be Monica, he said with a grin. Denise smiled back. You're just as charming as I imagined. They talked. About wine. About life. About business. And then, right on cue, he began to pitch the con. There's this investment opportunity I've been chasing. Property in Belize. Off-market deal. I just need $25,000 by Monday to lock it in. Denise leaned in, voice sweet. And you'd pay me back? Of course, he purred. You'd get 10% on top. Maybe more. She touched his hand gently. I'll think about it. That's when the detectives approached. At first, he played innocent. Is this a joke? What is this? He demanded as the officers calmly identified themselves. But when they asked for ID, his entire demeanor changed. He bolted. He ran out of the bar, down the hallway, through the lobby, right into the arms of another officer waiting by the valet stand. The name on his ID? Fake. But once in custody, fingerprints told a different story. His real name was Marcus Lane Whitaker. Age: 44. Criminal record in 3 states. Outstanding warrants in Florida and Texas for fraud, identity theft, and wire scams. Multiple restraining orders. Over $600,000 stolen from victims in less than 7 years. The net had finally closed. The news exploded. Local TV ran the headline, Romance Conman Captured in Sting Orchestrated by Former Victim. Social media lit up with praise and outrage. Dozens more women came forward. Some had only lost money. Others had lost homes. One had attempted suicide. But Denise stood tall. She testified in court. Her voice didn't shake. When asked why she got involved, she said, "Because I have a daughter. And I wanted her to know that even when someone steals everything from you, even your heart, you can still fight back." The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Marcus Whitaker was sentenced to 28 years in federal prison. In the months that followed, Denise rebuilt her life. She returned to work, repaired her credit, bought a modest home with a fenced backyard, one with cameras on all sides. Ava decorated her new room with posters of unicorns and stars. Jalen joined the track team. They smiled again. Denise launched a support group online for victims of emotional fraud. She called it Hearts Not for Sale. Within 6 months, the group grew to over 3,000 members. She was no longer just a victim. She was a survivor, a protector, a warning. And in the final scene of her new life, she sits on her back porch, coffee in hand, watching the sunrise. When Jalen steps out to join her, he asks, "Mom, do you think he'll ever come back?" She looks ahead, unflinching. He better pray he doesn't. If you or someone you know has been a victim of online relationship scams, don't suffer in silence. Report the crime to the FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3.gov, and reach out for support. Your voice matters. Your story can stop the next victim.